All right, welcome to Typology Gifts. We are recording now. Wait, show us the dog again. What's your dog's name?
Oh yeah, he's called mice because he's little and yellow like mice, like corns.
Oh, mice. Okay, got it. Yeah. So mine's That's Gooby back there. Hey, Gooby. You see his look
Hi,
at his
Goopy.
eyes. Get his eyes back there. Gooby. Gooby. Well, welcome. We paid our dog tax here at the beginning of the video, so we're good now. But
Seems pretty good fare to me.
if it slows down, I'll just be like, bring the dog back out. No. So I want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly. So could you tell me how to pronounce your name?
Yeah, it's Jacopo.
Jakob.
It's basically like Jacob in English. The Italian name is Giacomo, but my name is the Florentine variant, Jacopo.
Jacobo. Okay. I'm gonna write
Yeah,
down that pronunciation for myself because
Jacopo with the
that's
P at the end.
okay
P,
with
like
a P. Hold
yeah.
on 1 second here. I'm gonna make a note for myself. Okay. All right. I'm not great at remembering those kinds of things, so I have to write it down.
Don't worry.
Well, nice to meet you, Jacopo. And
Nice to
do you
meet you
go
too, then.
by anything for short, or is that the full name?
Well, my full name is Jacopo Duccio Cecchi. I have the double name, but
Okay,
Jacopo is perfect.
and so Jacopo is the shortened version. See, here we have Jake.
Yeah.
So Jake is like the short version of Jacob
Ah, yeah, yeah.
in the U.S.
My nickname is Jack. My friends call me Jack. So
Okay,
basically,
yeah. So it's pretty
similar to
close.
Jake.
It's pretty close. And where did you say you're located at actually?
I'm in Florence, in Italy.
In Italy. Okay, great. I actually have a friend who lives in Italy. Don't ask me where.
Yeah, where? Oh, okay, perfect.
I knew you were gonna ask me that. I don't remember exactly where he is, but
Don't worry.
yeah. So okay, that's cool. And I'm you said that you had seen some of the videos I had made up to this point already.
Yeah, yeah. I watched a bit of what the one. No, she called? I can't remember it. My
Um,
memory kind of sucks for it, but it was like an ENTP girl, probably one of your latest.
Okay. And okay, uh, so basically, for the benefit of those who haven't seen my videos before, the format that we've kind of got here is that I don't necessarily try to push a type on a certain person, preferring rather to tell them what my opinion is, and then us having a conversation and talking about it, and maybe by somewhat unraveling how I came to that conclusion can help narrow down if you're not sure what type you are, or maybe you are and you just want to see what I would say, or I don't know where you fall on that. But don't tell me what type you think you are yet until the end. We'll see if we'll kind of compare notes, and I certainly don't want to be influenced. But also I read between the lines a lot, so even if you say drop buzzwords or certain things, I'll probably still be sniffing out other things that you know. So, all right. So I guess we can just jump right in a lot of the questions I'll probably ask you won't necessarily be like, um, I see other typings where, well, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent, so I'm not gonna set this up. So the first question I'd like to ask is, do you see yourself as a more proactive or reactive person, and what do you mean by your answer, whatever
Okay,
that
nice
is?
question. I already like this format of questions.
Okay.
Well, I will say definitely. I think I'm a reactive person. What I
Hmm.
mean is basically I generally am kind of reflective as a person, kind of pensive. I can be pretty spontaneous. I love socializing a lot, and so on. But generally, I expect to something happen to react to it. What I
Mm-hmm.
mean is, stupid example. I see a dog coming to me,
Mm-hmm.
sniffing me, and I start to pet it. Generally, I love to receive inputs from the outer world
Mm-hmm.
and from outer situations. I don't think I'm quite proactive. Probably in the socializing way. I like starting to talk with people,
Mm-hmm.
starting to talk with them, ask questions. But generally, I am more responsive than actively researching for the socialization. Socialization.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Good to know.
Hope it makes sense.
Yes, definitely. It definitely does. Um, and you mentioned earlier in this call, I don't remember if it was before or after I started recording, that your memory wasn't too good. Usually, everybody can remember certain types of things really well, and isn't too good at certain other kinds of things. So,
Mhm.
what kinds of things do you struggle to remember, and which kinds of things are very easy for you to remember?
Okay, so I kinda struggle to remember generally things that happen a long way ago. I mean, like 10 years from now, I can clearly see the picture in my mind when that
Mm-hmm.
happened. I think I definitely have seen that situation. I remember that situation, and but I generally have a hard time connecting it to when it happened, what it
Mm-hmm.
happened, and so on. Well, I am quite proficient with muscular memory. So if I
Mm-hmm.
do something like these days, I'm starting to drive a car. I'm getting a license right now, and from one day to the other, I get more and more spontaneous to drive it because my body does kind of imprints what happened in
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I am also have quite a good picture memory. For example, today I went to a pub with my girlfriend, and I did remember where the chips were. I mean, in the right part there was the kind of chips and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say, yeah,
When you remembered where those chips were, was it like you visualized in your head, like the
visualize it.
picture of? Okay.
Yeah,
Do you
like
do,
a picture, like a cam machine cam. Yeah.
do you find yourself doing that for other things that aren't things that like? Do you do that for words or ideas as well? What I don't want to lead you in a certain direction, but like, to what degree do you rely on visualization outside of like remembering where you saw the chips or something like that?
The visualization, definitely not with the more abstract sides of things, ideas or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't generally have a form in mind. I rely more on visualization when I have to remember some details of what I've seen, for example, peculiar traits of one person, and so on. So probably I think I visualize a lot aside from this situation
Mm-hmm.
when I play tabletop games with my friends. I mean, I can really see what is happening, like
Mm-hmm.
Dungeons and Dragons and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it works in a picture of seeing the situation, what is happening, how
Mm-hmm.
their character looks, and so on. So
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Um, do you think that um, when's the last time you started a fight?
last time I started a fight, you mean physically or
Any kind of fight,
any kind
argument?
of fight? Oh well, with my girlfriend, I love her, but it happens a lot because we have so many similar traits and so many opposing ones. So generally, are pretty stupid fight, I would say. So a really big fight probably happened like 2 or 3 months from now with her. So definitely not recently. Aside some little arguments or things or stupid things. So I don't think it does count as a fight, I would say.
Hmm. Is it hard to get you to fight?
Well, I am kinda choleric, I will say. I think sometimes it happens just to be a little word off or something that really doesn't resonate with my ideas, and
Hmm.
I start to get my temper up and
Hmm.
become. It can be pretty aggressive, but as soon as it happens, it just goes away after 2 or 3 minutes, and it happens. So I would say it's easy to get in an argument with me, but generally, there are arguments. I can see them as some kind of debates of clash of ideas, clash of hypotheses, clash of styles of living, I would say, and or the classic things like politics and so on.
Hmm. Hmm.
And but it just go away after, I would say, 2 3 minutes.
So are the areas of argument that you end up getting in, they're about ideas or about logic or about maybe that's too low, those are too loaded of words. I guess what I mean to say is it's not like confrontations. It's as more of it is debate, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for me it's a debate. Yes, I can be
Okay.
pretty aggressive in the debate.
Hmm.
Sometimes maybe kind of arrogant, probably, but I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, generally they are like for me are debates. I would say. Do you think that way? I think that way. So how we have completely different ideas? I'll show you why my idea I think is better,
Hmm.
and why my belief for me it's better.
Hmm.
And I try to understand yours too, but generally end up not finding a compromise, I would say.
What's a strongly held belief that you have?
Strong held belief, yeah, I have so many strong beliefs. Generally, my preferred belief is my freedom. I love to be free to do whatever I want to do, whatever I choose to do, whatever I like to go, wherever I want to do. So yeah, I would say freedom is probably one of my best beliefs. Generally, I try not to block or put boundaries in the lives of other person, and I expect for them to do the same with me. I mean, if one day I just want to go having a stroll or so on, I would like to be free to go, and that's one of the things I just generally get more heated about. I would say when I find my freedom is like cut off or forced or
Hmm.
ordered to do something that
Hmm.
I it's the idea of getting my freedom, my wings cut off. I will say so. I will say that for it's a good example of a strongly held belief.
Hmm. And is that something that you hold as a belief across the board that everyone should also have that same level of freedom? Or is it something that you primarily are focused on your independence, your autonomy?
I will say 50-50. As I said, I like other to have the same degree of freedom to me. I generally with my friends I say, guys, if you want to do this day something because you have other things, don't worry about it. We can just try to choose another date or so on. And so I would say 50-50. It's more like on
Hmm.
the individual side, probably would say. It's something that it concern exclusively me and my freedom.
Hmm.
But also, I expect other to do the same. For
Hmm.
example, if my girlfriend want to go with her friends, she is free to go. For me, also just call me 5 minutes before. Oh, my friend called me for this thing. Can I go? I would say definitely yes. And so I expect that expect her in this example or my friends to do the same with me. I mean, I need absolute freedom, I would say, from this side.
If I was going to invite you over to a party, what would be the ideal time for me to invite you? Would it be a week before, a day before, an hour before? What for you is the most comfortable amount of time beforehand?
Okay, in the exact situation of the party, I would say a week before probably,
Mm-hmm.
because I like to get ready for the socialization and so on.
Mm-hmm.
While for more single dates or things like that, for
Mm-hmm.
example, a friend of mine, when he lived near me, he sometimes called me like 2 hours before midnight and say, "Hey man, I want to go grab a beer," and I say, "Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course."
Okay.
I don't have anything to do. So depends on the situation, I would say.
Does it ever upset you if you're in the middle of something and you get invited to something?
Yeah, definitely.
It does. Why? Why
Yeah,
does
it
it?
does. It does because I would say generally I have a hard time focusing on things. So when I manage to get my flow state and my focus on something, I
Mm-hmm.
generally don't like when my plans are completely destroyed or changed or so on, because I generally like to organize what I do when I do. So
Okay. So on the topic of organization,
yeah,
um, what is, everyone does organization differently. Like some people like to throw everything all over the room and they just know where everything is around the room and that's their kind of organization. Some people have to put everything in like meticulous little boxes. So like where do you? I notice behind you I can see everything seems to be pretty well. Um, it's not like scattered necessarily. But then I see some I don't know if that's your dog bed or something on the floor there. So
yeah, that's
tell
the dog
me,
bed.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you do organization.
Organization generally, I am pretty, I would say, disorganized in my environment. What I mean is, what you see behind me are
Mhm.
basic books and things that are like the library, so
Mhm.
I can easily reach that. With the cam, you can see what is next to me, and I have some clothes scattered over. I
Can I
didn't
see
want.
what's over? Can I see what's over to the side?
Yeah.
Okay.
As you can
Wait, wait. Let's
see,
see the floor. Let's see the floor.
yeah, those are my clothes.
Show
the
me the floor. I want to see the floor.
The floor? No, the
Yeah.
floor are well. My shoes are kinda cluttered, I would say. Yeah, you see, two pairs there, two pairs there.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
So I generally don't say I will. I shine pretty much on organizing my surroundings.
So how do you does that bother you or are you cool with that? Like how
Pretty cool,
you're
as
pretty cool
long
with
as
it?
I remember when things are, where I threw them, and it's
Okay, okay.
kinda good for me.
Yeah, yeah, good. Okay. And so when it comes to anything that is, let's say, um, linguistically improvisational,
Hmm.
how well do you do when it comes to
Uh,
extemporaneous speaking or comedy or improv or anything in that, or theater or anything in that realm?
okay, okay, okay,
You
perfect.
you you perked up with theater, so tell me about that.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at it. I People always tell to me that I'm a really good storyteller. I have some strange sense of humor that I generally make people love about it. When I was younger, when I was in the high school, I also did a course on theater improvisation. You know, when you're given some kind of railway to go, and you just go trying to improvise the character, the story, the situation. It was pretty funny for me. So I think I'm kind of good at it, probably.
And when you're in that mode, so do you have to go and do that and be in that mode, or is that like normal life for you? Like where does that is that something that you go and do, or is that a lot like your normal life?
Probably would say it's my normal life. I really love doing impressions of people,
Mm-hmm.
make fun about them. It's in a gregarious way, not an offensive one. I hope.
Uh-huh.
So I think it's my mood. If I see someone strange or talking in a strange accent, probably when he goes away, I will definitely imitate him. So.
Okay. So is it very physical comedy? You do kind of physical comedy, like well, you mentioned voices. So
Mhm.
is it about inflection and you know what I mean? It sometimes like some comedians, it's about the joke, right? It's like
Yeah.
what they're saying, and other comedians are more about the physicality, like the delivery, the cadence, the accent, the things like that. So d- where do you fall? It sound. I mean, I don't want to make an assumption, but I'm just like trying to understand where you fall on that
Yeah, yeah, don't
spectrum.
worry. Probably will say physicality. I am the bastard one who, when see someone strange on TV, I like to make a joke about him for, I don't know, is there, go away. Donald Trump, I will say.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. No offense taken by me. Don't worry. I'm not a Trump
Yeah, I see your
supporter.
account, man.
Yeah,
I
I'm not a
feel you.
Trump supporter. Never have been.
So
Um.
yeah, probably I will say physical, more on the physical side.
Okay. That was my thinking based on what you said, but I just wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
got enough kind of elaboration on that. Um. What about um. What about writing? Are you much of a writer? And if you are, what do you write about?
Okay. Well, I don't want to make assumptions about my qualities or my talents, but I would say I'm a pretty proficient writer, I would say. And at least what my friend told to me and what others told to me, in truth, write different articles for different sites. The most regarding video games because it's one of my hobbies, and generally write reviews, news,
Hmm.
something. I work in a site. From some friends of mine that mixes psychology with video games themes,
Mm.
and I write some articles about it.
Hmm.
I think I'm pretty good at it, to be honest, truth be told. Definitely, I would say I'm definitely well done me good to write a fiction or a book, fantasy book. Fantasy is one of my favorite genres, but definitely don't think I'm a good fiction novel writer, fictional
Mm-hmm.
writer, so on.
Why don't you think you're a good fiction writer?
Because I generally don't consider myself very creative in the strict sense, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Probably if I was to write a book or things like that, I will go for something like crime drama or so on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
stories set in realities rather than
Mm-hmm.
fantasy or scientific,
Mm-hmm.
fantascientific situations. So probably I will lean toward that side. And writing, I probably have more a journalist approach in my
Mm-hmm.
things I wrote.
Okay. Have you done any journalism, like official journalism, like with I don't know for any indie journalism, anything in that realm?
No, unlucky, no. Aside from this thing that I wrote from a group of people that write for the Nintendo Switch, the console,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote news or things, rumors or things I heard, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're an official group and they work directly with Nintendo. But
Mm-hmm.
journalism, in the strict sense,
Mm-hmm.
never had the occasion to. In my school, there wasn't even a journal. Probably if there was, I would definitely have gone there. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, do you think that you have earlier in this conversation we talked about strongly held beliefs that you had? You mentioned
yeah.
freedom. Um, do you think that you hold beliefs more strongly than other people around you do, or do you think that you hold them the same level, or less?
Hmm. I will say I have my strong beliefs. I will say like principles and things like that. But I don't think I held it more than other people. I mean, I always thought that those are things that are more subjective to the
Mm-hmm.
subjective experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are absolute moral rules for the society, for the good living. As a INFJ, you definitely know what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and it's right to follow them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I have things I believe so much I will fight for them. I mean, I think in my I try to always do the good thing, and I have a really strong sense of justice. I will say that it's probably is, some people think it's a bad thing to say, but I mean, I'm on the side of, if you do a crime, you must pay for it. And
Mm-hmm.
the worse the crime, the worse your punishment will be. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would say I have a strong moral justice compass, I would say. In the moral sense, I mean, like, it's wrong, I don't know, to flirt with engaged people or doing some examples. I'm not saying I'm doing them, but these morals, I would say, hmm, I don't think it's much. I mean, I can be quite flexible in the thing. I
Mm-hmm.
generally don't try to. My general rule for this is don't make other people suffer
Right.
if they don't deserve it. So
Right. Right. Right.
I will synthesize my beliefs, my ethical beliefs.
Mm-hmm. So, uh, do you think that do you think that we should, when it comes to our ethical beliefs, and I'm going to
Mhm.
ask you a very esoteric question right now.
Yeah.
When it comes to our ethical beliefs, should we look to the past? Should we look
Mhm.
at where we are right now? Or should we look to some kind of imaginary future? And this, I'm not going. I promise you, I'm not going to make some kind of judgment about your type holistically by your answer,
Don't worry.
because you might think stereotypically that introverted intuitives would be thinking about the future, and introverted sensors would be thinking about the past and stuff like that. But the
Don't
reality
worry.
is,
Don't worry.
we all kind of pick and choose, right? Depends on the issue. So where do you kind of fall in that situation?
In that situation, I will say it's important to see what is right here, right now for
Mm-hmm.
the ethical beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because, I mean, religious principle and so on, I think they are quite good, aside if
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to go to theoretical tangents
No, it's
like
fine.
religions is good to control people and so
Mm-hmm.
on.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're good values, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it can be applied in the world we live in. An example to make you understand better. I mean, I grew up always in Catholic schools because my family is from Catholic extraction. Even if my mother, as a ENFJ, she always have been very spiritual, very very particular. She always
Who is
have
the ENFJ?
my mother,
Your
my
mother?
mother.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and my father probably is ESTP. Probably I would say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I went from Catholic church to Catholic schools because generally they were thinking that were more safe places than the statal ones. But the Catholic religion didn't really resonate with me. I'm really much closer to the Buddhism side of thinking about things. And some, in this example, some religious beliefs from the Catholic one, like homosexuality, like the the strong votes and the strong preaching of Catholic people really doesn't fit at all with the world we're living in now. We're living in constant transformation in a dynamic system, and it's right to change things from older perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
I won't know definitely what it could be an idealistic future. The closer I've been to thinking this thing was where I watched Black Mirror and things so series
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I will say, for the ethical side, it's important to see what we're living in. The situation
Mm-hmm.
are always different. Sometimes you think that maybe I don't know, flirting with a woman who is engaged, it's a terrible thing, but maybe that woman is suffering in her life with the man she has near to her, and so on. So I think we can be a strictly moral judges. I would say I think it's more connected to the situation we live and the people we meet to
Mm-hmm.
be
Mm-hmm.
to have a good moral idea, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Okay. All right, we're at the 31-minute mark. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna pause the video now. Or stop the video. We're gonna go to part two, part B,
Mhm.
for the viewers at home. And I'm gonna go pour my second bourbon. And I'm gonna really think about what we've talked about because we have gone through a lot of territory, and it's interesting. It's very interesting to think about. I hope the viewers at home have been enjoying because I've been enjoying. So thank you for the very stimulating conversation so far.
No worry. It's thanks to you. It's really interesting having this kind of conversation. Doesn't happen often.
Yeah, so I think as we round the turn into our next part, I think I'm gonna ask you a few more clarifying questions maybe, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to narrow it down a little bit further because I wouldn't say that I'm conclusive at yet, but I would say that I have kind of a direction of where I think we're going. So I want to kind of try as best I can to try to narrow it down. I'll tell you what my theory is. We can talk about it. You can tell me what you think your type was before we started this call, and we can see where we end up and talk about it. And I think it'll be an interesting part B.
Mhm.
So thanks for joining, friends. We'll see you in the next part.